It's been a minute, but I'm back. Discourse on Metaphysics 14. And today I actually just read a parallel passage from the Monadology on TikTok, Dr. Monad 4 over there. So if you want to see how this changes about, 86 to 1714, 30-something years later, go see over there. It's interesting. Okay, so today, God produces various substances according to the different views he has of the universe. And through God's intervention, the proper nature of each substance brings it about that what happens to one corresponds with what happens to all the others without their acting upon one another directly. All right, that's the title. We'll read the article itself. This is what becomes known as Leibniz's theory of pre-established harmony, or sometimes he refers to it as the theory of concomitance, right? Things happening at the same time. After having seen in some way what the nature of substances consists in, we must try to explain the dependence they have upon one another and their actions and passions. Now, first of all, it is very evident that created substances depend on God, who preserves them, and who even produces them continually by a kind of emanation, just as we produce our thoughts. That's an interesting analogy. God continually produces all created things in the same way that we produce our thoughts. I'm going to sit on that. Okay. For God, so to speak, turns on all sides and in all ways the general system of phenomena which he finds it good to produce, in order to manifest his glory, and he views all the faces of the world in all ways possible, since there is no relation that escapes his omniscience. The result of each view of the universe, as seen from a certain position, is a substance which expresses the universe in conformity with this view. Should God see fit to render his thought actual and to produce this substance. And since God's view is always true, our perceptions are always true. It is our judgments which come from ourselves that deceive us. And that echoes what Descartes says in Meditation 4. Now, we said above, and it follows from what we have just said, that each substance is like a world apart, independent of all other things except for God. Thus, all our phenomena, that is, all the things that can ever happen to us, are only the consequences of our being. And since these phenomena maintain a certain order in conformity with our nature, or so to speak, in conformity with the world which is in us, an order which enables us to make useful observations to regulate our conduct, observations justified by the success of future phenomena, an order, quite the sentence, an order which thus allows us often to judge the future from the past without error, this would be sufficient to enable us to say that these phenomena are true, without bothering with whether they are outside us and whether others also perceive them. Nevertheless, it is very true that the perceptions or expressions of all substances mutually correspond in such a way that each one, carefully following certain reasons or laws it has observed, coincides with others doing the same. In the same way that several people who have agreed to meet in some place at some specific time can really do this if they so desire. But although they all express the same phenomena, it does not follow that their expressions are perfectly similar. It is sufficient that they are proportional. In just the same way, several spectators believe that they are seeing the same thing and agree among themselves about it, even though each sees and speaks in accordance with his view. And God alone, from whom all individuals emanate continually, and who sees the universe not only as they see it, but also entirely differently from all of them, is the cause of this correspondence of their phenomena, and makes that which is particular to one of them public to all of them. So God alone is the cause of the correspondence of the phenomena. So each monad, no, we're not talking monads here, we're talking substances. Each substance is like a world apart. It's like the world viewed from a particular point of view. And God alone is the cause of this correspondence of their phenomena, and makes that which is particular to one of them public to all of them. Otherwise, there would be no interconnection. We could therefore say, in some way, and properly speaking, though not in accordance with common usage, that one particular substance never acts upon another particular substance, nor is acted upon by it, if we consider that what happens to each is solely a consequence of its complete idea or notion alone, since this idea already contains all its predicates or events and expresses the whole universe. In fact, nothing can happen to us except thoughts and perceptions, and all our future thoughts and perceptions are merely consequences, though contingent, of our preceding thoughts and perceptions, in such a way that if I were capable of considering distinctly everything that happens or appears to me at this time, I could see in it everything that will ever happen or appear to me. This would never fail, and it would happen to me regardless, even if everything outside of me were destroyed, provided there remained only God and me. But since we attribute what we perceive in a certain way to other things as causes acting on us, we must consider the basis for this judgment and the element of truth there is in it. All right, let's move to 15, right? So Leibniz is here saying that nothing is really the cause of anything else, except God is the cause of everything, and then each thing is the cause of its own future along with God. So all of the perceptions that I'm having, and my cat over there, my cat's always over there, right? All the perceptions I'm having. Hi, Ziggy, should we say hi? She's not paying attention. But my perceptions of the cat over there and the cat's perceptions of me are not actually caused. My perceptions of Ziggy are not caused by Ziggy, and Ziggy's perceptions of me, even though she's not looking at me, maybe she's not paying any attention to me, but her perceptions of me, even if she's unaware of them, are not caused by me. They're caused by her. They flow from the previous state of her substance. Okay, so that was 14. Now we're doing 15. So the question that arises is, what do we say about, right? He asks this question right here. Since we attribute what we perceive in a certain way to other things as causes acting on us, we must consider the basis of this judgment and the element of truth there is in it. So it seems as though, things act upon us. It seems as though when I get a haircut, which, I don't know, someone is acting upon me, or when I'm perceiving my cat, when I'm hearing my cat meow, that something from outside is acting on me. Leibniz is saying, technically speaking, that's not true. But what's the ground of our judgment? Why do we judge that way? And in what sense is it true? It's not like it's just ridiculous. So, 15 then, maybe we'll start to answer that question. The action of one finite substance on another consists only in the increase of degree of its expression, together with the diminution of the expression of the other, insofar as God requires them to accommodate themselves to one another. What could that mean? Right? So it's something about the increase of expression in the one and the decrease of expression in the other. But without entering into a long discussion, in order to reconcile the language of metaphysics with practice, The language of metaphysics with practice, all right? So we're living in a world, practically speaking, you know, I know where the car is, I know how to get around, I know what causes what. But in metaphysical strictness, right, underneath those layers of my experience that allow me to predict the future, in metaphysical strictness, it may be that there's not actually these connections. Okay, but without entering into a long discussion, in order to reconcile the language of metaphysics with practice, it is sufficient for now to remark that we ascribe to ourselves, and with reason, the phenomena that we express most perfectly, and that we attribute to other substances the phenomena that each expresses best. Thus, a substance which is of infinite extension insofar as it expresses everything, right? Every substance is a collection of perceptions from a point of view, right? That's what it is. And the degree of distinctness and confusion locates the substance. Anyway. Okay. Thus, a substance which is of infinite extension insofar as it expresses the whole world, expresses everything, becomes limited in proportion to its more or less perfect manner of expression. This, then, is how one can conceive that substances impede or limit each other, and consequently one can say that, in this sense, they act upon one another and are required, so to speak, to accommodate themselves to one another. For it can happen that a change that increases the expression of one diminishes that of another. Now, the efficacy a particular substance has is to express well the glory of God. And it is by doing this that it is less limited. And whenever something exercises its efficacy or power, that is, when it acts, it improves or extends itself insofar as it acts. Therefore, when a change takes place by which several substances are affected, in fact, every change affects all of them. It's a parenthetical there. If we're all expressing the whole world, every change in the world is a change in every substance. Every substance is changed by every change in the world, okay? But some are affected more than others, right? Therefore, when a change takes place by which several substances are affected, and in fact, every change affects all of them, I believe one may say that the substance which immediately passes to a greater perfection, a greater degree of perfection, or to a more perfect expression, exercises its power and acts. And the substance which passes to a lesser degree shows its weakness and is acted upon. Okay, so every change affects everything. We're going to say that the creature that increases its power, that increases the range of reality that it expresses or that it perceives, like the more clarity that it has, that's the creature that's active, and the one that loses the most is the one that's passive. Acted upon is to be experience a decrease in perfection, and to be active, is to experience an increase in perfection. And if we think about this as like, oh, you know, one person and another person, no, think about a plant growing, taking nutrients from the soil, right? The soil is kind of losing, and the plant is growing, right? The plant is increasing its expression. It is increasing the extent to which it can perceive the world, and increasing its size. And remember, it's like clarity of expression is the clarity of your perceptions is what locates you. So to increase in size is to increase the clarity of your perceptions, is to be bigger in the world in a way. Okay, so we've got to act and to act, be acted upon. I also hold that every action of a substance which has perfection involves some pleasure. And every passion, some pain. And vice versa. However, it can happen that a present advantage is destroyed by a greater evil in what follows, whence one can sin in acting, that is, in exercising one's power and finding pleasure. All right, we'll stop there. Questions? You got questions? You want to talk more about this stuff? Should we do live sometime? I don't know. Give me thoughts.